So why don't you tell us about where you grew up?
Where I grew up? Well, I grew up in Indianapolis. The earliest part that I can remember was when we lived in Mars Hill. And
Which part of Indianapolis is that?
that's west. I don't know where it is from the airport now, but there used to be that little airport there called Stout Field. And I remember the planes flying over our house to land, and I thought it was going to hit our chimney because they'd come so low when they had the army there. I was probably 4 or 5 at that time, and then that's the house that burnt, and then we moved further in town on Detroit Street, and that's where we lived when I started school. We probably only lived there a couple of years, and then we moved in an area that was called the Bottoms. It was the railroad ran this way and the Eagle Creek ran that way, and then we lived in that area there. And I had to walk to school 19 blocks. And I remember one year it was really cold, but Mom didn't listen to the radio or anything, and that was back when all the little girls had to wear dresses, and I walked to school, and when I got to school I couldn't feel my knees. They were like really frozen, and the teacher set me over by the register to warm up, and when we got home, Mom was really upset that she hadn't paid attention, and because she would have kept us home that day.
How cold was it, do you know?
It was well below zero. It was, something like 12, 15 below zero. So that was that was a bad deal. But I remember there was a grocery store about halfway between our house and the school, and in the winter we'd stop in there to warm up. And I always had a quarter for my lunch, and sometimes I would spend part of that quarter for a package of Chuckles, and that was a nickel. And so then I'd only have 20 cents left, so I could get a sandwich at the grocery store or at the drugstore, but I couldn't get anything to drink. But I loved them Chuckles.
How long did you live at the Bottoms?
Till we moved to Morgantown, and I was 14. It was the summer I was 14, and I think we probably moved to the Bottoms when I was 2nd or 3rd grade.
What caused you to move to Morgantown?
My dad just, he had a friend that lived out there. His name was Hatfield, and he always wanted to move out where he could put in a garden and stuff. And we actually had bought the house that we lived in the Bottoms, and so he sold it, and we bought the place out be west of Morgantown. And I was very glad we did.
How big of a place was it?
Oh.
Would it qualify as a farm, or is it smaller than?
Oh, we had a few acres, and part of it was woods. I don't know, probably only maybe 10 acres at the most. But that's where I went to high school, and I'm glad I didn't have to go to high school in Indianapolis.
So you went to high school at Morgantown?
Yeah. All 4 years, and of course Charlie and I got married between my junior and senior year, and I was I had to go to the township trustee and ask permission to go to school while I was married, and he said as long as I didn't get pregnant. But that first year, you know, I was very skinny. We didn't eat very healthy, and I gained 30 pounds the first year we were married, and I'm sure the rumors was really going around. But wasn't so. It took 4 years to get in that here.
So you didn't have to ask your parents, you had to ask the trustee.
Oh, well, I just, you mean, to go to school?
Oh, that was about going
That
to
was to
school.
go to school while I was married. No, when Charlie and I got married, we were both 18, and I didn't ask anybody. We were going to drive up to the preacher's house in Indianapolis to get married, and we hadn't told my parents anyway. And so I went to church one night, and the minister's wife came up to me, and my mother was standing right there and said, "Is this the daughter that's going to get married?" And she did that on purpose, I'm sure, so that I wouldn't really surprise my parents too much. So we ended up got married in the church.
All right.